I'm John Hinkle, the senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church. This is your Saturday morning preview of your Sunday morning sermon, which I'll be honest with you, I'm doing it at about 11:20 on Friday afternoon because I've just finished my sermon and it's right here, and I thought, let's just do this. So as you know, this is October. We typically here at First Presbyterian Church focus on our Reformed theology, our Reformed tradition. What does it mean to be Presbyterian? Why do Presbyterians think the way they think? But more importantly, what does it mean to think about God? That's what theology means, by the way. It's the study of God, or the thinking of God, or the pondering of God. And so what do we think about when we think about God? And maybe more importantly, I think one of the questions I kind of wrestle with during this time is, why does God care about me? Right? I mean, that's, to me, God's a big mystery, but even a bigger mystery is, why would the creator of the universe care about us so much that he would give us his only one and begotten son so that we might have life and life eternal? So we're focusing on our Reformed theology, and usually what we do is we have something that kind of anchors us in that conversation. And of course, that's the Lord's Prayer this year. And so we've interesting enough, we've covered kind of the God part of the petition. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, one of the things that I've said in my sermon that somebody much smarter than yours truly came up with is that in many ways, the Lord's Prayer is constructed in the same manner as the Ten Commandments. Now, you know, the Ten Commandments deal with our relationship with God and our relationship with one another. And so if we look at the Ten Commandments, it's broken down with what is our relationship with God, our relationship, which are the first three commandments. And then you have the fourth commandment, which, of course, the fourth commandment is the Bridge Commandment. It not only deals with God, it's about keeping the Sabbath holy. Not only deals with God, the Sabbath, a gift from God, but our part of the commandment, which is keeping it holy. And then commandments 5 through 10 really is about our needs or our relationship with one another. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not covet, thou shalt not commit adultery. You know, that's on us. Well, the Lord's Prayer is similar to that. You have the God portion of it, which we've already talked about, and then you have kind of the us portion, or our portion of that. And that's what we're starting out with. Joyce and Bobby covered the God portion, and now we're going to start on the us portion, which the first part of that petition is, give us this day our daily bread. And that's what we're going to focus on this Sunday. Give us this day our daily bread. Now, William Barclay says, at a first glance, as we look at this first petition, the first us petition, it seems pretty obvious. What are we asking for? Well, we're asking for bread to eat. Now, if we take a look at this understanding of bread in the days of Jesus, and especially the days of the Old Testament, were essential to life. Bread was actually considered to be sacred. It is, if you read the book of Leviticus, which I have a couple times, and not light reading, but if you do, one of the kind of rules of worship was the aroma sacrifice. You know what the aroma sacrifice? It would be incense, but the aroma sacrifice that I just always think is so great is the baking of bread. The baking of bread was considered sacred. Why? Because according to the book of Leviticus, there's nothing God loves more than the smell of fresh baked bread. How great is that? Bread was sacred. Jesus knew that. But the other thing that many scholars point out is that Jesus actually links this petition, give us this day our daily bread, to the Jews wandering in the wilderness in the book of Exodus. Remember that moment? The Jews are wandering in the wilderness. The Pharaoh has finally released them. Then he changed his mind. Then they go through the Red Sea. The seas part. And they go to the other side. And now they're on their way to the promised land. Only in the promised land they had no food. And they cried out to God. And God heard their prayers. And he gave them literally bread from heaven, manna. But he just didn't give them bread and said, take all you want and store it and hoard it and hide it. He said, take only what you need for this day. Daily bread. And that Jesus actually is reflecting on this. Jesus doesn't say, give us this day, or take that back, give us this week, or give us this month our bread. He says, no, just give us this day our daily bread. This petition calls on each and every one of us to trust God for this day. Do you trust God for this day? That's easier said than done. Especially if you look at your life and all the demands and all the wants and all the needs, they add up. And I really believe the more wants you have, the more demands you have, the more needs you have, it's harder to trust God for just your daily bread. I'm excited about the sermon. I'm looking forward to being with you. I'm looking forward to being back. And last but not least, I've said this a couple of times. Thank you, Joyce. What a relief to know when I was stuck in Fort Lauderdale because my flight got canceled. We had Joyce here. So I'm glad. And I just look forward to being with you. Now, if I could just stop this on my watch. My watch is supposed to stop this. I don't know why my watch isn't stopping this. Here we go. Stop.